Good morning, everyone. This is Elsa DeSilva. Welcome to Daily Reflections during COVID-19. Thank you so much for joining me every day. Thank you for the viewers of Crossword and Shopper's Stop, as well as those on my Facebook and Twitter and YouTube pages. I really appreciate you. This is as much for me as for you. COVID-19 has taken a toll on all of us, but when life hands you lemons, you can choose what you want to make with it. And I chose to create this show. I need inspiration too. So this show helps me wake up, stay focused on my day, dress up, and talk to you. And today, to talk to us, is a dear friend. He's a Rotarian, but he's also the chairman of the US India Investor Forum and Friends of South Africa. Welcome, Manoj Gursahani, to Daily Reflections. Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm very well. So, Manoj, how are you doing during COVID-19? How is it treating you, and what have you been doing?
So let me confess, when it just started, I was doing miserable. The first 3 days was because, as I was mentioning in an offline conversation, that I love meeting people. For me, it's in my DNA to connect with people and engage with them. And literally, my family used to complain that in 365 days they have dinner only 30 days in a year with us. And so that was tough for me, and not connecting with people, meeting. And then after the first couple of days, one had to resign to the fact. And I said, let me start looking at it in a positive way. Now we know we need to be self-contained, follow all the safe distancing norms in the new normal, as you say, and figured out that we need to do that. So how do you see the positives in that? And that's when, I realized and figured that I should share in conversation with people like you. How can one be positive at the same time and also use this time, which in one way could be the most golden period of your life if you look at it from a other lens, and improve your personal life, upskill, and share more with others.
So, how do you stay positive? Like, what are the specific actions you have taken during this time?
So first thing, I when we see the misery all around, and when in fact, as we were discussing, we do a lot of work with Rotary. So my club is a Rotary Club of Queen's Necklace, and we have a team which is working with a lot of foundations to feed daily feeding for the poor people, migrant labor, people who have lost their jobs on the street. So one way of staying positive, and I want to make that an underlying factor of a conversation, is in giving that you receive. That has been my fundamental in offline aspect. So the moment you have that principle in your mind, and that gives you positivity. So that number one is in giving that you receive. So to my extent, in a small way, I'm contributing. My team is doing much bigger things of feeding more than 160,000 people a day, and we're going to touch 4 million till 3rd of May, till the next lockdown. So that is point number one. Second is, straight away it comes to you gratitude. You still feel you're blessed. You're at home with your family. You got food on the table. You got your kitchen reasonably stocked. And so, and you, when you start with that, and that gratitude element I always had in my life. And when you start with the gratitude element that, okay, thank you, God, I think that immediately, instead of that victim mentality, what's it, why me, all that, it's like, so one of the important elements I feel is also gratitude.
Yeah. I have a mentor who always said, you should give, and you will receive. Never give with the thought of receiving, always, do it because you want to do it out of the goodness of your heart, and be grateful. So those two tips definitely resonate with me. I'm a Rotary Peace Fellow, and you are a Rotarian, and I am really very grateful to Rotary for the opportunity to learn more about conflict resolution and peace building. And many people don't realize that Rotary's mission is peace in the world, and y'all do it through your selfless service. It's a voluntary organization, and I have never come across more committed people in my life who show up to their clubs every week and pick up whatever project that they're passionate about. So thank you so much. And
No,
through Rotary, you all have raised a lot of funds. I put that little banner up, but I don't know if you could see it. But Rotary is sponsoring many thousand meals per day in Mumbai and distributed through Khana Chahiye, which I'm volunteering at. And this is run by Project Mumbai. So thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about how did you manage to get so many people involved to start this food distribution drive? Because I remember we started around the end of March with 1,000 meals per day, and today we are covering more than 70,000 meals per day with Project Mumbai's Khana Chahiye program, and Rotary is sponsoring, almost 50 or 60 or 70% of it. So can you please share, like, how does one even bring in so much?
no, no. So honestly, again, as I said, I'm a small part in the overall system. There are a lot of people at play. There are members of our club who have contributed in a big way. We have raised a lot of funds. There are foundations which we are working with, which are doing outreach programs. And then we have the kitchens which are cooking the food. So we figured out it's not only about the money, it's about logistics, serving, outreach. So it's a combination of teamwork. And in fact, I'm going to get into that conversation, detailed one, tomorrow on the 23rd, which is Thursday, Indian Standard Time at 6 o'clock. So I hope on that, I'm going to share more on that aspect in terms of that. What I wanted to honestly also talk about and share is how does one stay connected in today's time? Can I share
Yes,
that?
please go ahead. It's so
And I,
important. Whilst we are
yeah,
socially distancing and in
yeah.
lockdown mode, how can we still stay connected?
Absolutely. So there is another element called social intelligence, and we can use all those terms, but when it comes down to brass tack, what does it mean? So today we are all locked up in the WhatsApp university. Everybody is become an opinion leader or a COVID expert or a vaccine expert because we hear so much of news. So so what we did, at least personally, I like to share my example, conspiracy theory, which country started what. I said, okay, that's fine, but let's consume news only twice or thrice a day. Otherwise, we're inundated with so much and we have very little control about. So what can we control? So coming to, can we, so I've drawn a list of 10 people which I actually physically pick up the phone and talk to them. And I said, hi, it's been a long time. So when have we, and nobody can say we are busy, or I mean, they are busy on various business calls, but they are available. Okay. So that's the time when people are available, we talk to them, at least I speak to them, connect to them, and they feel good. Back in the old days when, oh, you're not just wishing on birthdays on Facebook and via Insta or whatever. So I think that's number one. While you're connecting, be a great good listener. Again, I want to back up and said, in the past I have had a challenge being a great listener, and I'm trying to improve that. And in listening, I also feel something called as, which I've shared that in the past, empathetic listening. Because never in a lifetime, as somebody rightly mentioned, without a bullet being fired, the whole world is at its knees, whether it's kings, presidents, we all see that, right? So there is obviously a lot of anxiety disorder, there is a lot of challenges which people are facing. What is going to be with my job, various kind of aspects. There are people having other medical conditions, so I keep getting calls because I work with few medical communities. Like last night, my maid called me at 11 o'clock, and she said my husband has a problem. He has to go to a hospital in Bandra. Can you reach out? Can you help me? And you know what? Nobody's available, unfortunately, at that time because they're dealing with other COVID related issues. So, where I was coming from is that when you connect, listen to people, and again offer, say, how can I help you? Now I've always feel when people say help means it's giving money, and I totally, money is important, but you can listen, you can share, you can help. Somebody wants a medical opinion. Yesterday somebody called me and said, how do I get an essential pass? And then I have a friend called George Oman who was nice. He's into supply chain logistics. He sent me a link which I shared further to somebody. So it's like, how does one share, listen, help out, and come out with a thing, how can be of great help? So I feel these are factors in terms of in today's time. Again, call up, I know people who are friends, NRIs, who are abroad, and if their parents are staying here. So I've actually gone out and called their parents and said, Uncle, Auntie, how are you doing? Is there anything I can be of help? Please reach out to me. Simple things like coming up yesterday, went for groceries, met my watchman down. He said, Saab, I don't have gloves, mask. I said, is there anything I can do? He said, can you get me a sanitizer? I mean, so luckily I sanitized in my house. I went down and gave it. So just little things we can reach out. And again, don't reach out with the purpose is what am I going to get? Reach out because principally the key is reach out because you feel good about it, and that should be the fundamentals of the thing. So I mean that is I can go on and on. Yeah.
Can you share a little more about how networks play a role in this?
So tons of that. So I'll give you a very live, and I would like to share live. So a friend of mine, again, her name is Kavita Chejuja. She stays in Bandra. She's a cook chef, and she called me just 2 days back. There is a particular driver with his two chachas in Sion, and she just called me, messaged me in Sion, who has not eaten for the last 3 days. Okay, I called up somebody from the Lions Club of Sion. There is a senior, he's been a senior Lion, World International President Lion, Ashok Mehta, called him and said, Uncle, there is somebody, because I knew they work in that community, there is somebody there. And can you believe it? They were distributing in that area at just that time. So
Wow.
and 30 minutes while she spoke to me, the guy got food and he sent me the picture. I could have shared that picture. So I feel that is a power of connectivity. If you do it with a good heart, universe is there to listen to you. I can go on giving you countless examples.
Yes, that's so true. When you have a good heart and a good intention, the
Yeah,
universe does open up. And they,
absolutely.
people ask me, like, how come you get all these people on your show? And I'm like, they're all part of my networks. They all know the kind of work I do. And so when I reach out, there's never a pushback. It's always, yes, tell me, how can I help? So it's about paying it forward, each one do something for the other person, in whatever ways. I want to delve a little more on, people think that you have to compete with each other. So you just spoke about a Rotarian reaching out to a lion in another part of Bombay and, collaborating. The power of collaboration over the power of competition. Can you share a little more on that?
In fact, let me tell you another story which is a very powerful story. Again, so the Rotary Club of Lion, there is a hospital in near Sion Hospital called Lion Tarachan Bapa Hospital. They were wanting to put a cardiac unit, okay, and they were looking at funds. So I reached out to my Rotary Club, which is Queen's Necklace, and told them that there's a great project. They want to put up a cardiac unit. They are, falling short of funds, and they want to collaborate. So again, what are we? Is it competition, Rotary? So it's what is the cause? What is the common goal? Is to help humanity. What did I do? I honestly connected both the organization, went for just 2 meetings, and I can tell you, less than 60 days before they started, there was a commitment made. The project of a cardiac unit is going to start hopefully whenever now the things get normal. And so I connected two parties. So I'm coming to your point is the power of compatible thing. And I think let's go beyond NGOs. It's also the power of how can we in today's time, what has shown with today's time, then let's not keep egos, let's not think. So if you rethink and say, okay, how can I connect the dots even in competition? So you're in that business, how can I reach out? So there are some businesses which are going to be in trouble and there are some businesses. So how can both of them get together to collaborate in this time? Because once you collaborate and there is an X amount, now let's talk about finance or money to be made, it can always be a revenue share can be done. So the moment the mindset is not that crab mentality, oh, when somebody goes up, we pull them down. is how to change the mindset and say, how can we co-collaborate? How can we work? And if you look at it from that perspective, I honestly tell you there is no end to that in terms of whether you do it for business, personal, whatever. And again, the law of karma, it comes back. And if we don't discuss, figure, I always say, if we cannot realize it now, then when? Because we are sitting at home thinking, and if you look at it in a positive way, and honestly, that's also one of the ways to go back to personally, it's a trick to feel positive, because when you're doing something, the good energy flows in you, right? And so that vibration is good, so it keeps you away from your concerns which you have, which all of us have. Let's accept that what's going to happen, is the life going to be ever same again? But that's not in our control, we realize. First time I've realized, I speak to people all over the globe, nobody has a clue of what's next, correct? No, nobody's saying
Yes,
that's it.
yes.
When we don't have control, let's do and contribute and keep ourselves positive on what we can control on.
Yes, there's so much to think about that. Staying positive is an art. It's really about training your brain, picking up on your energy cues, and focusing on it.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
wanted to talk more about purpose, living a life of purpose. We've already
Mhm.
shared a lot, like, paying it forward, giving back, asking people, how can I help? It's not about it's not about yourself all the time. It's about the larger cause, and that is what you're doing. But what's the difference when you live with purpose and you walk with purpose?
So again, I would like to illustrate by an example. Yesterday, I was speaking to a friend of mine. His name is Srijit Mishra. He's a very senior position in Aditya Birla Group. So we were just again, having a conversation. What he clearly mentioned is, he said, at the age of 22, Manoj, I realized that I have to have a purpose in life. Moment you define, otherwise we are. So I'll step back. Mundane living, procreating, eating, partying, whatever else we do in a normal life, that will never make you feel happy. Smaller things like you don't have X number of Facebook lives, or somebody said something about you in a normal conversation can get you upset, right? So moment you have a purpose and get up and say, okay, this is what my life goal is. So for example, in a smaller way, my purpose is, how can I make a difference in somebody's life? So when I get up and I say, oh, how can I make a difference? So that purpose itself defines your role. So it could be somebody's purpose, maybe Mukesh Ambani's purpose is, how can he be the richest person in the planet? And that's a great purpose to have from his thing. So, Jeff Bezos has a different purpose. So moment you have a purpose, you have a focus, and this is what I want to do. So from a philanthropic point of view, like, look at Azim Premji's thing. His purpose is in contributing. His purpose is in making a dream, and these are great guys. So I feel, if everyone, you don't have to have such lofty goals. In your own way, your purpose is in making a difference. And all I want to also share is, please, let's step back. And if you have a purpose, you'll stop forwarding negative forwards, you'll stop criticizing. Because what I see in today's time, when I go to social media, Twitter, everybody is becoming an expert. So why is everybody sharing and negative news about religion, about other aspects? And because there is so much still going on, humanity is suffering. So the moment you have a purpose in life, you'll stay away from all the negativity and you'll share positivity.
What are your favorite social media platforms?
So is Facebook is interesting, but and you should again use it effectively. I think Twitter is a great platform for. It's the best search engine, honestly. So when I first get any news that so and so has happened or anything dramatic, before doing anything, even before going to Google, I go on Twitter and search the news there. And if you want to, so I think Twitter is great. Insta is popular, is nice, but I feel it has its purposes. It's more for food blogs and various other factors, for artists, for so these are, I think, three major elements. And YouTube is a great platform to consume news, to look at live things like what we are doing right now. To like recently, I heard the UV Novel, the person who's written books on various hominids and various, and I heard his conversation with on television. And so these kind of news channel on top of YouTube, and and you can time it, you can subscribe to those channels, you can hear about. So these are the few further channels which are actually subscribed to on terms of social media, and whom you follow is, and it's the choice which we have. But here again, I feel we should not overindulge in that, just limit it to the time. Now of course many people are doing that. So these are various aspects. Tell me about what is your kind of, because you are, my god, extremely active. In fact, today I opened an Insta of the US consulate, and on that Insta that mentioned about you, that how with your organization is you are serving some 18,000 meals a day, how you're a Peace Corps candidate. So I don't know whether you've seen it, but the US consulate shared it on that Insta this morning. So what, tell me
I've
about.
seen it, and it's all part of the same collaboration that you are part of called Khana Chahiye by Project Mumbai, where
Right.
everybody is trying to reach, many people who out there who don't have a meal.
Right.
So,
Right.
you can do your best. You can volunteer, you can donate your money, you can open up your networks like Manoj has done. And from 1,000 meals a day, the whole project is doing 70,000 plus meals, and every day there are more and more requests. I mean, the whole conversation with you resonated with me today, because I
Yeah.
believe in the power of networks. I believe in living a life of purpose, and it is always externally focused, not focused on yourself. You give till you receive. So the US consulate has been a great supporter of our work, but also for the consulate to tweet, which means that you're doing something good and great. And again, I'm only the face of my organization. There are like so many people that I represent at Red Dot Foundation. So, I mean, it's great that we get a shout out.
US Consulate is doing some amazing work. As you know, they have so many foundations, what we hear
Yeah.
about in India, and they're doing a tremendous amount of outreach work also, as I'm tuned to them, and which is, and the global communities are coming together. One important, again, aspect which I remembered is what does one do during such times, right? So, upskill. Upskilling is key. Nowadays, there are programs available on Udemy and various platforms at 500 rupees, 400 rupees, where you can learn from Photoshop to how to be a project management consultant to whatever you want. So, time to upskill. You have time, you have me time, use that time. You can learn any skill available. There are, number one. Second, I know it's an overdoing of Zoom calls, but there are a lot of relevant Zoom calls for the guys who are looking at connecting, going back to the core subject on from a business and other point of view, is also go to these networks of Zoom. So today morning I got something in the jewelry which is not relevant to me, so I didn't go there. Now then something else talked about the builder lobby, not relevant, but go there. So those who are relevant to that. So if you watch out for those who are listening to us and watching us, is that go to various Zoom networks, and there are, Microsoft Live, a lot of these streaming happening where you can clue in, get a lot of thoughts. I have another friend whom I was in conversation called Avinash Ananda. He does a lot of Insta on happiness. Then I have another friend, Vibha Kakzi. She talks a lot. She's into education by a company called Reach IV. She gives a lot of free gyan on education because people are worried when you go overseas. What do you do? Another good friend, maybe you met him, called Josh. He's a singer. So Josh started now singing lessons, and he's starting contributing by training people who are sitting at home. Josh Crooner is his thing, and he teaches people who are at home. They want to learn from bathroom singing to becoming better singers. So there are newer aspects. If you realize people were not available. Also on the business aspect, for those who want to understand that from a bit. So LinkedIn is a great platform. And I forgot to, sorry, I'm just backing up on the social media platform. So guys, those who know LinkedIn well, best time to connect. So on LinkedIn, connect to people, reach out. What's the timeline? And again, I'll give you an example. I have a friend called Urvashi Devi Dayal. She's a great friend. She works on a lot
It's
of
mine
social.
too. Yeah.
So she's on LinkedIn with me. So she had just, and the power of connectivity. So she had shared something about how there are grains available with Food Corporation of India, and that's also something we should highlight. I believe 80 millions of grains are available, and wherein there are people dying of hunger. So how do you unlock that? I just read that, and then I reached out to her. I said, "Why are you sharing this?" She said, "No, there are people over here, and I don't know. So the grains are available. I'll just give you live example at 21 rupees a kilo of rice, but I can get access." So again, fast forward, because I saw her share on LinkedIn, and I said, "What are you looking for?" She said, "I want X amount of rice grains available." I connected her to another wholesaler in Kalyan who gave it to her, and she bought it at a reasonable price, and she bought it. So again, what happened? I saw the LinkedIn, I responded. So again, instead of listening, you were keenly watching, and you were saying, okay, this is of relevance. So for those who are watching us, let's say you're in the business of, so again, and give example of my friend George Oman, who's in the supply chain logistics. So he shared his story on how he's been proactive in delivering supply chain logistics, delivering goods at the time when there is a lockdown. And he shared his story on LinkedIn. So you can use this opportunity to go to LinkedIn groups. I don't know those who know. LinkedIn groups is a very powerful platform where you can share about your business experience, what you're looking for, and people globally are available. I mean, you have to be sensitive of the global timelines and time zones which you're posting those messages. And again, LinkedIn is one of the great platforms. You can go, you can understand how to use that more effectively. So yes, for business guys and entrepreneurs, look at LinkedIn. It's a great platform. Again, I'm not being paid to propagate that, but I'm just sharing because I use that. So let me be disclaimer there. Yeah, okay.
But since you're a Rotarian, I want to highlight that Rotary International offers fully funded peace fellowships of two kinds. There's a full master's program at 6 international universities, and there's also a professional course in Thailand and in Uganda. So do check their page out and apply because it's open right now and it's fully funded. So what more can you ask for? It's also a pause for you, like Manoj said, to reflect and think about how we are conducting our lives, what could be our purpose. And your purpose can be anything. It could be an animal cause, or it could be like me working on women's rights, or like Manoj, who's really into connecting a lot of people all over through his networks. So yeah, so we've got a lot of good tips today. Thank you so much, Manoj. Any thoughts, like what is the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning?
So before that, let me again plug in an appeal which our common friend Pearl yesterday sent me a WhatsApp message. Let's use this platform. She said, Manoj, I've heard you're doing work on the feeding people through various communities. Now I have an appeal where there are cats and there are cat feeders who want to feed cats, but they are falling short of cat food. So again, let's use this power and shout out for Pearl. And her name is Pearl Miskita. She's on a Facebook timeline. And for those who are animal lovers, I know friends of mine, RP Surendranath and various others who are great animal lovers, can actually reach out and say, okay, these are guys available who need cat food. So again, sorry, I'm using that plug again for a good cause I got. So this is again an opportunity to reach out and tell people on how to help. Sorry,
So
so what was
I've added another lady in my apartment complex who feeds all the strays on my street, and she also watches this show. So Pearl Mosquito and Reshma Shalatkar, a shout out to you. And for all those who are animal lovers, please, they need cat food, which is really expensive. And
yeah.
from what I've been told is that a lot of animals, including birds, are not getting their meals because humans have now stopped consuming outside in public spaces. So the
Right.
waste that we produce is limited, and it has now had an impact on various other creatures. So please be mindful. Also, figure out how they can be fed. Put a bowl of water and a saucer of grain outside your window so that the birds can feed as well. And please donate cat food to Pearl Mosquito and Reshma Shalatkar.
So I've got another important point because we're talking about giving, right? I'm sorry, I'm just adding that it's coming up,
No,
so I'm
no, go
sharing.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, so when we ask people, so for example, I'm using a term professional beggar, and just stay with me on that. So when tomorrow, let's say our Rotary, I'm in a conversation with a Rotary team and others for highlighting what we are doing for going to be feeding 4 million people. So I wanted to again use this leverage, and I reached out to my friends who have great followers, including actor Bomanima Irani, Raju Hirani, then reached out to Anurag Batra, who's chairman of Business for Lanamka, and then Omar Qureshi, Ayaz Memon, and all Georgia Andari, and told all of them, can you please share this thing on your Insta or on your Facebook? And again, Maruk Inayat, who's a dear friend. So what are we trying to do? The power of compounding is a multiplier effect. And you don't hesitate to ask this favor because you're not promoting yourself. You're promoting a cause. And now they are highlighting, and they have already done that. Tanuj Garg, again, a dear friend, and all of them. Raga, whom we all know, again, she's sitting in London. Raga highlighted that on an Insta story. So what are we doing? We are using the power of compounding. I reached out to Anand Goenka to please put the story of ours on Indian Express, and I'm sure it's being carried either today or tomorrow. So when we use the power again of relationship without a selfish purpose, with a larger goal and objective, people are willing to reach out because it's the intention behind the communication, and is the power of vibration and energy which you send out, which help people, and all are willing to help. Now imagine if you combine all together these influencers who are reaching out about our cause of feeding. I'm reaching out millions of people without what have we done? Just use the power of our networks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts, like when COVID-19 is over, what is the first thing you're planning to do?
Honestly, as much as I would like to maintain social distancing, hug few people, and friends, but I hope we can do that in our lifetime, and hopefully a vaccine or something is found. But obviously, go and connect with people who relevant to you, who meaningful to you. Reach out to family who you missed out on, and just trying to be socially more connected. So that is a miss one has to admit, and hopefully we get into better times and we move out in a safe and effective manner with keeping all the norms in mind.
Thank you, Manoj. On that note, thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining me this morning.
Thank
I
you. And
hope you
thank you.
enjoyed this
Lovely.
conversation.
Thank you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for all listening to it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a,
And
have a
thank you
lovely
for
day.
have a lovely day. Thank you, everyone from Crosswords and Shopper Stop joining us, as well as those on our timelines. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm talking to Shabnam Siddiqui. She's the director of UN Global Compact Network India. That should be another interesting conversation. So thank you very much.